Have you looked at the price of food and fresh produce? Have you been watching the news and they're talking about what they're doing to our food chain? What they're putting in our food, how they're making meat in labs and using non-organic materials and what they're putting on our even our fresh vegetables, and not to mention the price of all of these objects. I got something called produce plus, so I'm able to go and get a certain amount of fresh produce every month. And I got it last year and I got it again this year. When I looked at the price difference of what I used to be able to buy for, I think, $40 or whatever, and what I get now, it isn't even a month. I mean, the amount, I could not believe. They said, "Oh, it's inflation." I said, And then I looked at the whole big picture because we want to be healthy. They're giving us junk to eat. So what are we going to do? We're going to have to go back to the basics, back to having gardens. I know everybody doesn't have the yard for a garden. Everybody doesn't want to do gardening. You might have to barter, but if you have a yard and just pick a few vegetables, if you do a few, your neighbor does a few, you can trade off and you can barter. You can go back and forth. I'll give you my tomatoes for your cucumbers. Then we know what we're doing. We know what pesticides, we know what's going on in our own food chain. I mean, some people get a little mini greenhouse. Some people have container gardens on their porches or balconies because they really don't have the space. Some people have herb gardens, little herbs that they grow on in the kitchen, on the windowsill, or different places. I think we just need to kind of think outside the box because gardening it's what we need to really think about, or have a friend that gardens. I mean, I'm not a real big gardener. I mean, I barely have plants, at least outside, because outside there's snakes and there's worms, and I've always had issues with snakes and worms. But I understand the value of a garden. I understand where the necessity of it in today's world. I understand. I mean, they're even telling people now to grow their own chickens and pigs and buy a farm and go out there and have that in the farm. Or the world is changing. We're going back to a lot of time to what it used to be before, when everybody had a garden. They grew their own little vegetable patch. I mean, in the backyard, Granny had it. You all had a little whatever. You grew whatever, watermelons, peas, whatever. It's time to go back there. And then as I read a lot of this, and I'm reading what's going on for a lot of seniors, we got to think differently. We got to think outside the box. We got to start helping one another and come up with an approach. A lot of senior centers give out fresh produce. They give out canned goods. They give out a lot of that stuff. But even if you're getting it for free, that doesn't mean it's good. And that's why I try to tell people, they give out a lot of canned goods. We got to think of the quality, not only the quantity. That's important, because if you only have so much money to stretch, quantity makes a difference. But quality, how you live in your life, how good we want to do, makes a big difference too. Again, we know meat's very expensive. Some people are cutting back on meat. They're not having beef, and some people stop eating pork or whatever. They're eating chicken and turkeys. But look at what they're doing to the chicken. If you remember, at least when I was little, chicken wing was a nice little small, nice and dainty. That was a chicken wing. Now I see what they call a big wings. If the wing of a chicken's the same size as my arm, how big can that chicken get? And then they're talking about how fast the chickens grow, and they're stuffing them in. That's why we're big. Children are big. But as adults, you got to remember, food gives us everything we need to be healthy. It gives us everything. It's there. Now, what kind of food we're putting in as medicine, and some of us are not self-medicating very well. We're putting junk in. We're not eating nutritional food. It may mean you got to think differently. If it may mean that you have to have some other things. You may not be able to go out to eat if you go out at all. You may have to have more meatless days, just vegetables. I mean, I'm not saying to fill up on pastas and all the high carbs. No. But you may have to think differently. Think in terms that you're growing your own medicine. And how would you go about it? Sometimes all I hear is, I can't, I don't know how to do that, I don't know how to do that. That's not this, it's not it. We got to figure it out. Get with people to help you figure it out. We got to take control of our lives and what we want to do and what's going in our body. And we're going to have to do things a little different. No, I don't like snakes and worms. I don't like going outside. I live in the city. Now, there are some city gardens where you can rent space to grow your own vegetables and get things. Now, I'm not, if that works for you, if you like it, I love it. But I'm not doing that either. Now, container gardens, which you can put on your front porch or on your balcony, or I may work on that. I have to think of something different. I know I have on my sink in the kitchen, I do a lot of herbs because they're easy to grow, and a lot of them reroot itself. If you're really careful, I mean, it's hard, easy to grow onions. We all know they're easy to grow onions. But there's a lot of vegetables that you can really grow in your kitchen, and you can do it. We have to do something. You got to have a plan. All I'm hearing all the time is, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't have this, I don't have the money for it. I know a lot of times we don't have relatives nearby, our family is left. We got to start bonding together. You got to start meeting new friends. You might have to go out and go to the senior center. Again, it's a lot easier if you're in the city. I mean, there are buses to take you to the senior center. They may give you even free seeds to help you grow your garden and do these things. But you got to do it and get it together and think a little different how it's going to work for you. It's out there and you can do it. Vegetable garden, herb garden, ask, inquire. Yes, you need help. Everybody wants to help, but you got to take some initiative to kind of think about how you're going to do it. I don't know if you have free cycle where you live, where you could ask for containers, you could ask for seeds. People have these things. I know during a certain time of year, the people have produce, they're just millions, and they're looking for people to take. I got lima beans, because even if you have a garden, sometimes there's more than what you need for you and your family. I just know, again, that what we put in is our medicine. I don't want me or any of you out there to be addicted to big pharma and really feel as though you need to have that. I need you to kind of think a little outside the box a little bit. And when I go out, and I go out and I see, I'm one that looks at people's shopping carts. I go and I look at when I go to the farmer's market, what people have. Don't go often. When I go to the buffets, baby, we need to do something different. Buffets are fine, but most of the time buffets got junk. If you really look at it, it has cheap carbohydrates, a lot of such and such and such. It doesn't have quality food. And if they're buying in the bulk, we know the quality is not good. But I'm here giving you solutions. I'm trying to give you some plans. I want us all to be fabulous. I want us to eat right. I want us to exercise. I want us to get fresh air. Gardening, especially if you're doing outside, or you could volunteer to be in a garden, gives you exercise, natural exercise, not going to the gym. You get lots of fresh air. You get lots of vitamin D. All of these things help you being outside. It's not working for everybody, and sometimes you're not going to have the capability. Everybody doesn't have everything, but I still say there's something for maybe a little container. Maybe you could help. Maybe you can join together in a senior building, and you all can kind of get together and figure out how you're going to do it. Just be creative. Go out there and do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do more. Let me put it, not do it. I'm going to do more of what I'm doing, because I'm going to weed away from having addicted to the grocery stores. Again, if you're on a limited income, stuff is really, really, really expensive. And it may mean less meats, less of those things. I don't necessarily have to have meat or chicken or poultry every day. I don't. I can have good fresh vegetables. I've been looking into vegetarian meals. When I get certain things, if I'm growing this, what I can use that for, what I can do that for. Because you got to be creative in your meals. That's why I mentioned, going and getting herbs and learning how to cook. We're going to talk about being creative, cooking, and probably in another time. But, because having cabbage every day and certain things every day, it's boring. It's not fun. It's not exciting. But we're going to come up with my project. My thing to you is to figure out how you can either start a garden. Not talking about flowers. Those are pretty. I can't, well, I don't want to say you can't eat. Some people, not necessarily talking about flower garden, although they're very nice. I'm talking about how to feed yourself, sustain yourself, have your own medicine. And I'm going to keep giving you ideas. I'm going to throw things out. You'll probably see some of the shorts. I'm going to go by some of the garden things, show you what some seeds are, show you some things that you can naturally water and get roots and stuff. Come on, we're going to get this because our food, what we digest, is medicine. Big Pharma is not a medicine. We have to think differently. Some of us are going to have to go back to when we had gardens and you went in your backyard and you picked your tomatoes, or you went started canning. Remember the canning when you had all the natural produce? You started canning and doing. I don't know. Just the idea. Again, please like or follow. Please comment. Give me some suggestions. I don't know everything. Kind of help everybody so we can kind of work together to make this happen, make things wonderful. Again, my objective is to live happy, healthy, and wonderful until I'm over 117. And I want to bring a lot of us with lot of you with me. So please like and subscribe. Give me suggestions, things we could do because we're going to do this. Thank you.